you can't make something out of nothing, you won't be able to make something out of everything either. Capital doesn't make funded founders any more insightful than their bootstrap brethren. If someone can't creatively turn $1 into $10, why would you expect them to be able to turn $1 million into 10 million? And this excuse, that I like to call it a belief, is the same belief that my friends had a few years ago when I began making music, and I came to them about it, saying that I wanted to pursue it full time and not really focus on the job or anything else. I wanted to focus on this skill that I felt like I was developing. It could have been editing, copywriting, whatever the skill was, I would have came to them with it regardless, but it just happened to be music, and they just gave me this look like, you sure you want to do that? You sure you don't want to go look for a job? You sure you don't want to go to college? You sure you don't want to, follow the path that everybody else is going down, but everybody else is complaining about how they wish they were doing something different? And I'm like, I have everything that I need. I don't see myself as a victim. And I have clarity of like the initial steps that I could take to start attracting the audience without needing any money, without needing to spend or invest anything. I already have the equipment. I have people who send me beats. I mean, one of you guys could hold the camera and shoot me a video. Like, why do I need money? It just never made sense to me. I have everything that I need in order to do what I want to do. It might not be at the level that you guys think it should be for it to look right. Majority of the companies that I'm gonna be listing in this video, they started from nothing. Everybody around them just probably felt like it wasn't gonna work out from where they started. But look at them now, they're flourishing. So what makes me so sure that I'm gonna get rich before you, and I'm currently homeless right now? I don't buy into that belief, and therefore I take action, no matter how small, no matter how insignificant it seems. That alone is what separates me from anybody else who's waiting for the perfect moment, who's waiting for the initial capital, who's waiting for the money and the right circumstances to give them permission to do what they could have been doing years ago, months ago, weeks ago. So let's move forward, shall we? We're gonna talk about the concept of locus of control and what that means and how that will give you an advantage. Okay, so I found this website called Agriculture Institute, and they were talking about entrepreneurship. And a big part of what separates the entrepreneurs that keep going versus the ones that quit at the first sign of trouble is locus of control. It's basically how you interpret success, handle setbacks, and if you believe in yourself to have power over the outcomes in your life, or you feel like your external circumstances have all the power and that you're the victim. Agriculture Institute, I'll link it in the description below, and you can read that to get a better grasp and understanding of locus of control. But we're going to keep going. Next, constraints and how that shapes and fuels your creativity. Me being homeless, you have to adapt. If anybody been homeless or close to that, it's basically you have to adapt and get on your shit, or it's basically death. You're gonna die. And that's an advantage if you choose to look at it that way, because a lot of people are comfortable and it kills their creativity. But like I said, when you're in this position that I'm in, and it's like life or death, I have to do this or it's over, you get real creative. The juices are gonna start flowing. You're gonna have a lot of ideas, and you're gonna start to see things in a different way, and you're just gonna like unlock another level of creativity. Now, what I found interesting was Dr. Seuss was challenged by his publisher to write one of the most like famous children books in the world and only use 50 words. And you see how successful he turned out, right? Okay, let's go a little deeper if it's still not clicking yet. Our environments, in other words, either impel us to see things differently or they don't. That implies that creativity is in many ways situational, not some inborn faculty or personality trait. When people face scarcity, they give themselves freedom to use resources in less conventional ways because they have to. The situation demands a mental license that would otherwise remain untapped. I think that's pretty cool. So creativity being situational, according to that article, that means if you lack resources, if you lack money, if you lack whatever you think you need in order to do what you need to do, that's you being presented the door of creativity to actually get to where you need to go. And that only makes your story cooler. That reminds me of Ted Lasso, one of the early seasons. They pulled this guy in to play at this billionaire's non-profit event or something. They couldn't hire the professional band or the professional artist, so they pulled this guy off the street, and he had this whole setup. He was playing the drums, the guitar, and everything. He was using all parts of his body. It was DIY, and it was only him, and everybody loved it. Of course, it was a movie, but it's just like, it's the message behind it, and I think that kind of fits. But yeah, bro, it's like he didn't have everything, but he used what he had and he made it work. And I think that's cooler than to just wait and sit on your passion, sit on your skills, sit on whatever you're good at because you think you need permission from your circumstance. You're letting money be a gatekeeper, something that people print every single day. Like, that's not a determining factor at all. Last point on this section. Excess options creates overwhelm and abandonment. The paradox of choice. While fewer resources and less time force concentration and better ideas. Money doesn't just fail to help, it actively works against the person by removing the friction that would have forced them to think and be creative. 3 companies that basically started from nothing. Apple, everyone knows it, right? Jobs and Wozniak sold a calculator and a car to fund operations out of a garage. Next, GoPro. Woodman funded the company by selling shell jewelry and belts. And also he had a small loan from his parents. I'm not sure how much that loan was, but it was included. And lastly, MailChimp, if you're aware of that software. It started as a side project after the founders of it were laid off. So, if those guys can make it happen, and it was documented that they really started from nothing, or they didn't have just massive initial capital, that's proof of concept that it doesn't always take money to make money. Now, with all of that being said, ask yourself, what are you protecting by holding on to this belief? And is it even really worth it? Is it worth it to keep this inherited belief in your life? Because it's not yours. Somebody gave it to you. But is it beneficial? Is it helping you? What are you protecting by defending it? And yes, before anybody says it, they probably didn't even make it to this far into the video. But yes, startup funds is the common denominator for most successful businesses and companies. But it's not necessary for people like you and I who may not be striving for a trillion, billion-dollar company. Tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, maybe a mil or 2 or 3 is doable without massive initial funding. It's honestly doable, and I could list some creators and examples, but I feel like I've done my part. This video could have been better, but oh well. But next time you catch this pattern, I need X before I can start doing, insert whatever you want to do, music, clothes, online business, whether you want to provide a service, make a product or whatever. Just catch it, catch the pattern, or see it and make one small move. I'm just asking you to do one small move, one action that proves that story wrong. You don't need money to pick up a camera and film. You don't need money to get on BandLab and make a song. You don't need money to learn how to copyright. You don't need money to learn how to market. You don't need money to learn sales. So what is your excuse?